Well, let's talk about plays, because often when you've got to have a play to move the ball. The offense carries this ball. The defense stops the offense from getting that ball to score. So let's talk about plays. When they line up on the field, you see the guys come out there. You've got some guys that every time, there's certain guys that come right up to the line this way, another set of guys come right up to the line this way, and they face each other. So you've got a defensive line and an offensive line.
Correct. Defensive line and offensive line. Let's start to look at the offensive line first, because a lot of times people aren't quite sure, because what does the media do? We give you acronyms, or we give you symbols. Let's start with the center. The C that you'll tend to see all the time on news reports or whatever you want to call them, press releases. The C means center. Then you've got the guards. Those will either be categorized as OG or just as plain simple G. Then you have the offensive tackles. Those are either OTs or just a T. And on the final person on that line of scrimmage is generally the tight end, and that caps off the six-man front line for the offense.
And they're always in the same place. You're never going to find the center down here.
Correct. You will always, five of the linemen are always going to be set up on the line, and they have to be on the line. There's an invisible line that will run from the 20-yard line. And every single lineman will have to have his hand within 3 inches of that 20-yard line to be considered on the line of scrimmage. Now the tight end, who is the bigger, kind of like the receiving lineman, a big guy who can catch the ball, he can move around. He can be on the right side, he can be on the left, he can actually be split out wide. But one thing is for certain, you have to have 5 men on the line of scrimmage that are what we call the beat. And then you have the tight end, who's also going to be either on the line of scrimmage or off. But you know what? I'm going to get a little too crazy with terminology if you let me go a little too far.
Okay. So to make it simple for everybody watching, you've got the ball here in the middle. On one side of that ball,
you got the guard and the tackle. And on the other side, you've got the guard and the tackle. And directly over that ball will be the center.
Always.
Always.
The center is going to be right there, because the center's job is to hike the ball.
Well, that's one term. That's what comes out the quarterback's mouth. It's actually, from a proper terminology, it's called snap. He will snap the ball between his legs into the waiting hands of the quarterback, directly behind him.
Now, how does that happen? How do they know
With a
when...
lot of practice.
Right. Sometimes it doesn't work.
It doesn't always work. And that's called a, oh my gosh.
Right. But usually the quarterback is going to let everybody know, this is the play we're going to run, and we're going to do it on my count.
On his count. Counts can be on the first hut, on the second hut, or the third hut. The thing that I try and tell everybody when they hear quarterbacks, I think we've all seen the NFL films, and you hear the cadences being called. Tends to be a little glamorized on television. It's not always that glamorized. There's a method to his madness. When he's calling those numbers, he's actually sometimes telling us what the defense is in. So really, there's a lot of preparation that goes in there, but it's rhythmic. Since we're on the radio and we got music that will be playing after or before we're on here, one of the things you'll hear in a quarterback is a rhythmic. His hut, 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 is always going to be in a rhythm so that he doesn't get an offsides, which is a penalty against his own team, by forcing them to jump before he's ready to have that ball snapped. And really, he's got to be in rhythm with that center when that ball hits his hands.
So the center and the quarterback have a really unique relationship. They have to be in sync.
I guess if you kind of got up underneath the center, you're going to have a very unique relationship as well.
Yeah, I would think so. So here's the ball. The center is going to snap it to the quarterback. Now, a lot of times what we see, the quarterback is here waiting for the ball, and you see him look this way and yell. And then you see him look this way and yell. What is he yelling when he's looking in these directions?
Depending on the defense, he's either calling out fake signals to try and make them think he's doing something he's really not doing, or like I said earlier, he's calling out a signal to those wide receivers to tell them they're in a certain defense. And if it's a pass play, they have a certain route that they will run towards that defense, and they can find the open area. That's another terminology that we'll touch on later as we go along this season. But typically, he's going through what's called a cadence. And cadences generally start off ready, and then in the NFL, they go to the color. If you're playing for the Los Angeles Raiders, it's generally going to be black 21. Now, black 21 could be telling everybody we're changing the play, and we're going to run a 21 run play. Or it could just be a dummy play to throw the other team off. Black 21, black 21. So it's always a rhythm with the quarterback. But a lot of times, me right here sitting in front of everyone, I couldn't tell you why he's calling out certain numbers because I haven't been in their study group for the past 2 weeks.
Okay, so they've got this all figured out when they go into a huddle.
Exactly.
So after the play, the guys regroup. They all get into a circle. The quarterback's usually the one in the middle. And that's when they're letting everybody know exactly what he's going to go there and do so that they won't be thrown off.
Well, a huddle is put together so that basically the next play can be designed. We've already practiced these plays for weeks on end. That's what training camp is for, because we learn the entire, sometimes 200-page playbook. We learn that playbook. We know every play that's in it, and we also know every formation that's in it. So when we huddle up for that next play, it's for one person to talk, that being the quarterback. He's the leader. And he calls out that play, and he tells them which hut it's going to be called on. And now it's for the 11-man team of offensive members to be in one unison. Because unlike any other sport that we play in the United States, this one truly is played by 11 individual men that have to be turned into one body. So 10 guys could actually do everything perfect. One guy could make a mistake, and that one mistake could ruin the entire play.
Wow. Now, another thing that we've seen, since we're talking offensive plays and how to get it and how they get it moving forward, how they make it happen and snap the ball, a lot of times we'll see the quarterback looking over to the sideline and somebody's giving him signals from the sideline.
Well, you'll see more of that now in college. This past year, 2 years ago, they installed what they call a mic system in the pro quarterbacks now. So now they don't really have to look over to the sideline like back when, of course, I played the game. But 10s, when they do see him looking over to the sideline like that, they're looking toward the offensive coordinator because he might be signaling him. I mean, I could tell you little signals, kind of like baseball. They have different signals that mean different things. And that could be signaling in a play that he wants to change to. Maybe his mic and his helmet's not working. But of course, with the National Football League, with all the things that are going on, their equipment works pretty good. So nowadays, all they have to do is kind of put their hands up to the block out the outside, and they'll hear the play being called from that offensive coordinator to let them play the play now.
That seems like that'd be kind of annoying, having somebody talking in your ear while you're trying to play a game.
You know, it is somewhat annoying. I would tell you, I've actually put a helmet on and actually listened to it to see how it sounds. But it's such a soft earplug that he puts into his ear. And my biggest question when they first came with it was, is there any dangers, anything that could happen dangerous? But it's all rubber and no metal. They put it in his ear, and he actually can hear a soft. And I tell you what, the quicker you can get a play called and in, the better. Now you've got full use of that 45-second window that I talked about earlier in episodes.
Right.